Hi, in this video we'll be going over the continuation of the C# .NET video tutorials. So in this video we'll be doing a lab. I think it's probably a long lab. So we'll be creating and using the cell phone class. Okay, so I have this form set up. So you'll have to pause the video and set up the form if you're following along. So I just use the drag and drop to do it quick. So we have here the brand text box. So it's the brand text box, and then below that we have model text box. Below that we have price text box. Below that we have brand label, model label, and price label. So that's all just going down. I was supposed to put some other stuff here like object properties and extra enter cell phone data. So just pretend there's a group around here. So you can pretend there's a group there, and then you can pretend that there's a label on that group that says enter cell phone data. Actually, I probably could have done that, but that's okay. Well, I guess we could still do a group. So we'll just, we don't really need it. The important part's the code. But will try to do a group code later on. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to get that. So just forget about that. So we'll just pretend there's a group here, around there, and pretend there's a group around here, and the label for the group that's like the default label for the group. It says enter cell phone data. Then we'll have more labels here: price, brand, model, price. And another group here: object properties. This one around here, if you can see the mouse. So the group of labels here, we would say object properties for the default group label. Then the label beside another label saying brand, model, price again, which I don't think we really need. So let's just get into the code then. So first we're probably going to need, okay, so I think we're going to actually need two classes here. So one's going to be our normal Forms app. Another one's going to be called cell phone. So to do that, I'm going to have to click on the code editor. These notes I'll just take away, so that's from the previous videos. If you're interested in that, it's in the C# playlist. So I'll take that out. Okay, so here I'm using Rider. You can use Visual Studio, it's up to you, or you can use Rider. I prefer Rider, it's faster, it's easier to use. So I'm just going to go to the top and actually no, that's a lie. I'm going to get to this, whatever the folder area. So I think they call it the Solution Explorer. Then here, I'm going to find the file. Right here, I think it's this one here, form1.cs. I'm going to right click it. I'm not sure if you can see this, but I'm going to right click it. I'm going to go, maybe add. So I'm going to go add. No, this wasn't right, was it? It's not a class interface. Is it class/interface? Actually, yes, I'm going to click class/interface, and I'm going to select class. So I'm just going to name this cell phone like this, capitalized. Okay, so here we go. This is going to generate our class cell phone. And I think we're going to need these using directives, so I'm just going to copy all these like this. Actually, no, we can actually just code these out, so I'll just go up here above the namespace here, and then I'll go up here. So I'll say, first we'll say using system. And we'll say using system dot collections dot generic. One sec here, sorry. Okay, okay. So using system.collections.generic, and here we'll have using system.linq, and here we'll have using system.text. So then here we'll have using system.threading.tasks. That should be all. Namespace, we could have changed the name. That's okay. The namespace, WindowsFormsApp23. Kind of wanted to go here with cell phone. That's fine. Namespace isn't that important at this time. So public class, cell phone. It could just say class. I think it's just supposed to say class. Does that mean it's private? I think it might mean that it's private. I know that the variables would be. Anyways, let's just go with class. So class cell phone. So let's actually just. Okay, I want to type this. I want to comment this out and then type it again so you guys can see what I'm doing here. We know how to create a class, obviously, but we'll just do it anyway. So we'll just have here, for example, so we'll go with namespace. It might actually cause an error because sometimes there's like it has to find the first one created or something. So WindowsFormsApp23, we'll open a block. We'll say class, then cell phone. We'll open a block. Okay, there's no error, so we're just going to go with that. So first we're going to need the backing field. So we're going to need backing fields. So we'll go first, we'll go with private string. We'll go with underscore brand. This is our backing field. Backing field 1, whatever. Now we're going to go with a private string decimal. Actually, no, not a private string decimal. We'll go with a private decimal. Nope, sorry, private string. We'll go with a backing field, so model like this. Then we'll go with another one, so let me just move this off to the side here. That should be already off to the side. Okay, so we'll go here to, we'll go with private decimal backing field price, like that. So this is backing field 1. Backing field 2, and then backing field 3. Okay, so now we'll create the constructor when we're done the backing fields, because remember this is for the property. So go with public cell phone. So I think actually this might actually be public by default. It's not telling me. Okay, anyways, we'll get back to that later on. So we'll just go with public cell phone here. So this is going to be the constructor. So we're going to set those backing fields to empty strings to start. So we'll go brand. You could have went this.brand, I think. They're going to work? Or is there, because there's a symbol there, it's not going to work? Let's just try this here. This dot. An empty string. Okay, so this might only work in the main method, which is technically this. Like kind of like where the form's going to run. The actual form which inherits from form. Since it's a Windows Forms app. So I don't think we can use this keyword outside that the kind of main method area, which is this. I think of this, the one with the partial class, the Form1, which has an initialized component method, and the Form1.load. I'd kind of think of that as the main method. So in that case, we can't use this keyword, because of this keyword will reference the form, kind of like the forms class, I guess. let's just continue on here without this keyword then. So we'll just reference, whoops, I'm in insert mode I think. Okay, there we go. So let's add a kind of the backing field symbol, which it's not required, just for convention. And then here we'll go brand, so underscore brand points to an empty string. Something's not working here. Public cell phone. Okay, maybe this keyword would work. What's happening here? Maybe it just doesn't like that we rewrote all this stuff. Let's just see what's happening. Unexpected token on 23. Public. Oops, sorry. I think we're still in we're outside of the class here. That might be why. Let's add another block here. Now we're inside the class. Okay, so would this actually work? It might work with this dot, so let's just try that. I was thinking that it would work. Okay, it does work. There we go. So in this case, if we just go this, that this dot close. Can we access close here? No, we can't access the actual form from here. With the this keyword. So in this case, we can use a this keyword. You can use a this keyword if you want. If you're more used to Java, JavaScript, or something like that, you can use a this keyword. It's helpful. It helps you differentiate between different things. You can use it if you want. Let's go without the this keyword for now, and if we want to come back and try the this keyword. And then it's going to tell you it's redundant anyways, which it kind of is, but sometimes you might like to use it because it helps you kind of set up the object. It's up to you. In this case, we'll just go without it for now. So we'll just go underscore brand points to an empty string. That should work now. And then here we'll go with underscore model points to an empty string. So we're just going to do the same thing for all of them here. Underscore price points to an empty string. No, sorry, that should be 0m because it's a decimal. So now we'll do all the properties. So we'll start with the brand property. Remember, the goal of this class is to create create properties. We're going to practice creating properties in the actual IDE to show that there's no errors and it's the proper way to do it. So that's the point of this lab. Underneath here, we'll go with the public string brand. Excuse me. So you can go here, public string brand. It's up to you if you want to create it with uppercase or lowercase, whatever. Here we'll go get, which is a keyword, as you can see. We'll say return underscore brand. We'll close a block. That's done. We'll go set. Go return. Actually, no. We'll say that underscore brand points to value, right? That would work too. No? Okay, so in the notes that I read, I said you could have kind of named it anything. I lied. You can't name it anything. I thought you could because the doc said that it was what did the doc say? The doc said that it was like a parameter name where you can name anything. But it seems like it's an actual reserved word. But that's weird because if I go int value points to, it doesn't care. So it's kind of an interesting reserved word. It only becomes reserved in certain cases, I guess. Maybe it's in the set method when you use it. It kind of becomes reserved. So my apologies for confusing anyone. The docs kind of made it seem like it was like that as well. That's alright. So just if you're always unsure, just practice and see what the colors are. Because as you can see, this is the same color as return, which means that it's a reserved word. But you can't, for some reason, it allowed me to create a variable named value as well. So just be careful with that. Okay, so that's pretty much it. We have our property here. I'm just going to go beside here. So we'll just call it brand property, like that. So here, get return underscore brand, set underscore brand points of value. So here we'll go with the model property. Okay, so yes, we have our brand property. Then we're gonna, after the brand property, we had the model property. So we're gonna access the backing field. We're gonna set up this. We're gonna set it up the same way. So public string model. We'll go get. We'll go underscore model points to. Actually, no, sorry. We'll go return underscore model. Then we'll go, does that change? No. Why did that get not light up property? Okay, so here we'll go with set. Okay, now it lit up. Okay, so it seems to become a reserved word once you have both of them together. So then here we'll have, for example, we'll go with set. We'll call, we'll say underscore model points to value again. Okay, that's set. That one's done. Then we'll go with the last one. Public decimal price. Open a block. Then we'll say get. We'll open another block. We'll say that we're going to return underscore price. And underneath we'll say set. We'll open a block. We'll say that we want to say that underscore price. Whoops. Points to value, like that. And that should be our 3 properties. And that's the end of the class. Okay, so we'll just save that. Control S will go to the other class, which is the partial class. So all the using directives are there. If you're going to create a class, you'll have to include that in writer. You'll have to include the using directives yourself, unless there's an option to set it up or something. Okay, so here we have pretty much no fields here. We'll just have our constructor. Okay, so the get phone data method accepts the cell phone object as an argument. It assigns the data entered by the user to the object's properties. So yeah, just to the object's properties. So we're going to need 2 things here. We're going to need the buttons, so we'll set those up. So this one I called it create object button and then exit button. So we'll actually create some fields here. We'll go with sorry, just hit the mic cord, not the actual mic, but apologize for that. Okay, so we're getting all tangled up here. So here we'll just go with button, if it worked. Okay, so button, we'll go with actual, it's already created. So create object, it's not working. Nope, sorry, we won't be able to access it in the fields, so we'll just go down here to the constructor. because it was already initialized through the drag and drop. So in this case, we'll go with create object button dot name. Well, it's already set the name. It's already set. So we'll go dot click plus equals new event handler. We'll pass in create object button underscore click, like that. And then we'll do the same for the exit button. So we'll say exit button underscore click, exit button dot click plus equals new event handler. And we'll pass in exit button underscore click as a parameter. Right, I guess in this case as an argument, so underscore click like that. Is that wrong? Exit button dot click plus equals new event handler. Okay, so that should be right. So underneath the method, or the form1 dot load, why do we have that? Okay, so we just have that, so that's fine. So here we'll go with private void create object button underscore click takes parameter object sender comma event args e. Open a block. Underneath that, we'll go with private. Same thing. Void, we'll call the button name. Exit button, we called it underscore click. And here we'll say takes parameter object sender comma event args e. Whoops, with a capital. So now we have all our errors. They're all gone now. So let's go with the get phone data method. So we'll go underneath the constructor. We'll say private, so it'll be a private method. Void return type. We'll call it get phone data. It's going to take a cell phone object named phone as a parameter. So this is, where does that come from? That comes from the class we just created named cell phone. We're going to create an object of type cell phone and pass it in as a parameter. Or pass it in as an argument to the parameter, which is pretty much the same thing. Pass it as a parameter, because this method takes a cell phone object as a parameter. Okay, so here we open the block. We'll have a local decimal. So we'll say decimal price. That's going to be a local decimal named price. Then here we'll say phone dot. We're going to access the brand property. We can access the properties now. Have you ever how have we done this before? Do you recall from this, if you've been watching the series, where for example we would go okay, so let's just first do this. So let's just say we have, for example, we want to access our phone.brand. We're going to point it to. So the property is going to come from the text box. So we'll go brand text box dot text. So we've done this before. For example, we've set text boxes and labels to properties. So this is a property. This text box dot text is a property. So that text box's text property is going to point to our phone brand's property. So you can have properties pointing to each other. We normally don't do that. We usually take a variable and point it to a property, or we take a property and point it to a variable. So that's what we've done before. That's what I meant. So we'll get the rest of the properties. So we'll go here, phone dot model points to model text box dot text. Sometimes you won't even have to look at this code one. If you're doing the same thing with like 10 different properties, you'll know the next ones. Once you read the first part, then you'll be like, oh yeah, well I'm just accessing the text box in this case, so it helps to name them the same. For example, this one's model, and then you have our model text box dot text, and later we'll access our model label dot text. Okay, so here we have phone.brand points to brand textbox.text, and phone.model points to model textbox.text. And here, instead of doing the third one, we're going to have an if block to check if the data was passed properly. So we'll say if decimal dot, we'll call our try parse method, which is going to return a boolean. We'll pass in as an argument to that method the price textbox.text. Second parameter is going to be out price, because remember, price is going to be our variable, and if it's correct, the data should go. So this returns true. If this returns true, then the data will get stored in the price variable. But if this returns false, we'll get -1 in the price variable, and then this method will return false. Okay, so then here we'll go, for example, phone.price points to price, our price variable. So it's a local price variable, which is different than this price property, so just be careful with that. Hopefully the compiler doesn't get confused with that. If not, we'll have to name this one with a capital or something. Okay, so then here we'll have else. So if that method at the top, decimal.tryParse, returns false, then this block will catch it. So we'll say messagebox.show. Then we'll say, for example, it's just the invalid price error. Well, it's just an error message. So then here we'll say, okay, that's going to close. And that's pretty much it for this method. So that's the get phone data method. It gets the data about the phone. So for in the in the next event handler method, then so we're going to close this block underneath form1.load. So in the create object button, we'll create an object here of type cell phone. So I'll say cell phone phone. We could have just called it cell phone. So cell phone points a new cell phone. There's our cell phone object, which was created in memory. And then we have, for example, we're going to call the get phone data method passing in cell phone, like that. We're going to pass the object to the method. Remember, get phone data takes a cell phone object. So now we're passing it a cell phone object. So here we'll just display some data. So we have, for example, brand label. So we're going to set the text boxes on the button click. So when the button gets clicked, the labels are going to set to the text properties. Or we'll set the labels text properties to the properties of the phone. So we'll go brand label dot text, for example, points to cell phone dot brand, like that. So we'll go with model label dot text points to I think I might have named this one wrong or forgot to name it. Okay, so in that case I'll have to go back to the drag and drop editor. I'll look for the spelling and probably just correct the spelling mistake. So I'll just name it again. I'll go back to the code, that should change. Points to, or did I just mess it up again? Okay, so this was our, okay, so I'll take this out and we'll go with brand label. So brand label, then we have model label, and then price label. So we'll just go back to the code here. That should change at some point. So we have model label dot text points to sorry, the keyboard went out. Points to cell phone dot model. Okay, someone's wrong with that here. Brand label. I'm just going to name it for a second time. There we go, so it finally changed. So you have, for example, on the next part, we'll go with the price label, we'll go with .text property points to the cell phone .price property. So we're taking a labels text property and pointing it to the cell phone object's price property as well. Seems to be something wrong with that. Sorry, we're gonna have to, because there's a type error here, because remember the price label is going to take a string for its text property. So we're trying to point that to a cell phone .price, which is a decimal property. So I have to go with the price and then go with dot to string. So we'll cast it to a string with a method call, and then pass in the C for the currency format as a string. And that's it. So we'll just go to the last button. So we'll just call the this.close to just have a way to close the app. So just like that. And that should be it. So I'll just run it and just enter some stuff here. So I think it was a good lab to practice properties. So now you know how it works. We created our own properties to set them, and then we kind of just pointed properties around to each other. So you won't be able to see this pop. Okay, something happened with this. Okay, so it did pop up. You won't be able to see the pop-up because it's a different window. So remember, let me just try to remind what's going to be entered. So we have at the top, so it's going to be the brand. So we'll just go with whatever. I don't know, Android. So the next one we'll go with model. We'll just go with Galaxy or whatever. The next one we'll go with price. I don't know, it's expensive these days, like $1,000. So then we'll go with a label. Actually, no, sorry, that's gonna get set when we create the create object. So everything was set. So I'll click exit. So you won't be able to see that, but I'll just describe to you in the designer window. So in this text box here, I entered Android. Here I went with Galaxy. Here I went with 1000. Then when I click the create object button, the labels got set to the price and to the strings. So it got set to a string, and then a decimal. So we could change the colors here. We could add some. We could like take the black out and put some like nice Windows colors or something. So that you could do that too. I've showed you guys how to do that already. So you can code that or just use the drag and drop editor. So that'll be the end of the code. So that's the end of the tutorial. So in the next tutorial, let's just see what we're going to be doing. Okay, so we'll be talking about read-only properties. We'll have some more code examples, a few of them. And then we'll be done with properties. So thanks for watching, guys. If you guys like the video, you can like and subscribe to support the channel for more programming and investing tutorials. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one. So it'll be in the C# playlist on my channel, csharp.net. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Thanks.